It's a top, my selector.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
I know you're gonna dig this.
The Maestro.
Fist hits the bag, 1, 2, and comes back. Single fist here. You hear that beat?
Think outside the box, and VOXing on top of them, clocking them, sending back to the corner for oxygen. Golden gloves, I know myself, I know the game, it's not a game, I know the ring, I want the belt. Finding the rhythm to hit them, split them and touch them and tip them, hit that six-pack with that quick jab. Uppercut the bro, making them fall down, breaking them all down, switch stands, tippy toe, in the hands, give them some more. You are not Muhammad Ali, anomaly, a Mayweather, Pacquiao, prodigy in the midst of fist, this just S2, hot to rock, think out the box, you know I got the rock, speed back.
That would be a little drown.
Hey, Saturday morning, it's Maestro Boxing, part of the HCP network of boxing channels. And yeah, look, I'm going to get right into things this morning. We've got some good fights to look forward to today. We've got Conor Benn, Chris Algieri happening on the zone out in the UK. Believe that fight is taking place in Liverpool. Okay, we've also got a big fight taking place here at the Garden in New York City. All right, on the undercard of the Lomachenko-Comey fight, we've got Jared Big Baby Anderson fighting, which on its own is exciting. And of course, we've got a 118-pound fight taking place later on this evening on Showtime, and that's featuring the one and only Nonito Donaire. And look, that's real boxing talk right there. That's real fights, okay? But what I want to talk about today is Triller, okay? We got to get, I want to get into this a little bit because I haven't really talked much about Triller and about how I feel about Triller. But I do want to get into that today. But before I start talking about this topic, I got to salute the first man in the building. All right. Pat's Nation. All right. He says he's glad to see Triller gone. It was a disgrace. Virtuoso up in here too. Triller leaving boxing. I need sources. James Valdez. Who that with the fast bars? And Ramiro Flores. Buenos dias, maestro. Bendiciones, compa. Bendiciones right back at to you, bro. Look, I got to keep it real. Triller ain't dead, but I'm going to be digging the grave on Triller today. I'm going to be digging the grave on him, which is why the thumbnail is what the thumbnail is for today. And I'll put that back onto the screen so people can have a look at it. I'm saying R.I.P. Triller because I want these clowns gone. I'm digging the grave. I'm lowering the coffin. It's time to get rid of these clowns. Not that I think anyone here probably has watched much of their content, but they've been nothing short of a total shit show since they came into the boxing game. And look, boxing's got its own problems, okay? We don't need these dudes adding on to it. We don't need these guys building onto that pile that sometimes, you know, boxing makes for itself. And this time we've got some outside investors, some big time buckets of cash inserting itself into the game. Maybe they do have a lot of cash. Maybe they don't, because you know what? Rumor is that they didn't really pay the bread that they had promised some of the game's greats of all times. First of all, first time I heard of these guys, I believe, was the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight, which my understanding was financial success, at least in terms of pay-per-view numbers. We then heard rumblings that Mike wasn't paid what he was told he would be paid. We heard rumblings that Roy Jones Jr. wasn't paid what he was supposed to be paid. And that didn't stop the Triller train. All steams ahead. Choo, choo. Leaving the stop. Okay, but it's been nothing but total mess since then. And I want to just do a little bit of a dive into what happened. We can maybe learn from this. You know, I go into things with an open mind a lot of the times. All right, I'm usually an open-minded person. I did want to give them a shot. All right, they did say that they were going to get into serious boxing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Did they get into serious boxing or not? I mean, I'm going to throw up their schedule, and I'll let you guys decide what you think about it. Throw up some highlights. I'll let you guys decide, was that serious? Was it not? My view is that it's been nothing short of a shit show, a flaming pile of shit show, the worst kind of shit show. Because what we don't want is for people to look at what I'm going to start showing and say, whoa, that's boxing. That's what boxing's about. That's the sweet science right there. But Maestro, they're paying these guys. Are they paying these guys? But Maestro, they've got personalities doing content for them. Okay. I don't know. I think that it's been a mess from the beginning. And I mean, let's just get into it real quick, guys. Let's get into it first. Because first things first, I heard of Triller. I'm not, what the fuck is Triller? What is Triller? I've never heard of Triller. What's this Triller all about? It's an app. I start asking people, yo, do you have Triller? Do you have it on your phone? What about on that phone? What about on this? Kenny T, do you got Triller? What's Triller, Kenny? D-Style, what's Triller all about? Do you have that app? Joe HABEEB, where's Triller? Explain to me what Triller is. Well, luckily I exist out here in the real world, and I also exist on the internet. And, you know, so we can go into things and kind of look at what Triller is. So I go to Wikipedia, and what does Wikipedia tell me? Triller is an American video sharing social network service. Who's in this social network? Don't really know. The service allows users to create and share short-form videos, including videos set to or automatically synchronized to music using artificial intelligence technology. I'll call that what it's abbreviated to usually, AI. Okay. Triller was released for iOS, that's for the Apple people, and Android, for the Android users like me. I'm an Android guy. Don't hate me for it. Better product, lower cost, more useful. Yes, I'm an Android guy. And initially operated as a video editing app before adding social networking features. In mid-2020, the app gained prominence in India and the United States as a competitor. So this is during the pandemic, guys. As a competitor to similar Chinese-owned app TikTok. I have heard of TikTok. Okay, I have heard of TikTok. A lot of my students have TikTok. They make TikTok stuff. I go out, celebrities are all over TikTok. TikTok I've heard of. All right, so as a competitor to similar Chinese-owned app TikTok, after the service was banned in India and faced the threat of a ban in the US, Triller later expanded into sports promotion, distributing pay-per-view boxing events between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., and Jake Paul and Ben Askren, both incorporating appearances by internet, sports, music, and entertainment personalities. Remember Snoop Dogg? Big Snoop Dogg? All right. Big Snoop Dogg was involved. I remember they got Al Bernstein involved, right? They got the great celebrity commentators involved. And I guess that was intended to lead to credibility. I remember even Jim Lampley was going to be involved. He signed on, if memory serves me correct, to do the Teofimo Lopez, George Gambosis Jr. fight. And we all know how that went. I don't think I've ever seen the great Jim Lampley on Twitter since that announcement was made. So, I gained a little bit of interest in Triller. Didn't know much about them. I hadn't even read that Wikipedia thing before today, believe it or not. You know, I was just giving them a shot. I was a little open-minded, wanted to understand where Teo was getting the money that Bob wasn't paying him. I was all for it. I was all for Teo and George Gambosis Jr. getting as much money as they could to fight each other for what was being billed as the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. Whether it's undisputed or it's unified, doesn't matter. It was a big fight, and it was supposed to take place. But we all saw the ups and downs, roller coaster rides. Is it happening? Isn't it happening? Is it going to happen on this date? Well, wait a second. There's a bigger fight taking place on that date. Let's move it back a few days. Oh, well. Let's move it back again. Oh, well. Oh, now we've got COVID involved. Will it be in Australia? Maybe it'll be in the Mideast. Oh, it's going to be at the Garden. Oh, wait a second. Now it's in Brooklyn. Shit show after shit show. Chicano Prophet, salute, brother. J. Dot, salute to you as well. James Valdez, did Triller ever give Holyfield his bag? Good fucking question. I don't know. Who else ever wants to fight with them, Dre Dot? We'll get into that too. Because believe it or not, these clowns still have fights taking place, right? We're not really hearing about them. Believe it or not, they're actually on pay-per-view, if you can believe that. Puro Central Boxeo says, QEPD Triller. Virtuoso, you're buying Triller? You're bearing Triller. Yes, I am. So they'll die off. Exactamente. So-called cash. Right. Long Live Boxing says, salute, brother. James Valdez says, hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button. Hit the notification bell. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to Maestro A Boxing. El Negrito causando pánico. Proud member of the HCP Network of Boxing Champions. Base the Kid. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hoping to get back on the Undisputed podcast. All right. KD and Trav. My brothers KG and Trav doing their big thing out there out of London, my home away from home. Salute to South London. Salute to Brixton. Salute to East London, North London, and even West London. Not all of it's posh. All right. And even I got love for the posh people too. All right. So look, what happened with the Teo fight on Triller? Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into it right now, ladies and gentlemen. All right. A few months ago, not that long ago, it was back in October, right? A report came out in the Sporting News. Not always the greatest place to find your boxing content, I admit, but they did an article here, right, where they discussed why is it the Teofimo Lopez versus George Gambosis fight on Triller? Fight pulled after nearly $10 million in promotional costs. Ooh, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. All right, so after many months of postponements and back and forth, Triller Fight Club is dropping one of its most anticipated fights of the year on Saturday. Again, this is back in October. Yahoo Sports reported that Triller would no longer feature the unified lightweight title defense of Teofimo Lopez against Australian challenger George Gambosis. Triller had originally won the rights to promote the fight with a bid of $6.018. Interesting bid, especially the .18 part. Million, but finally decided it had enough of the drama from trying to get the fight off the ground and pulled the plug. The fight had been promoted by Triller as taking place on Monday at Madison Square Garden Though a letter from Triller COO Thorsten Meyer to IBF President Daryl Peoples and IBF attorney Linda Torres listed it as having been scheduled for October 16th, according to World Boxing News. With the advertising we lined up, the performances marketed, we lined up the radio spots, the television spots, and all this stuff. Quite frankly, it's fair to say that at the moment we're between 9 and 10 million in promotional dollars, promotional money that we spent to promote this fight, Mayer told Yahoo Sports. We've gotten nothing out of it, and this is why we're saying enough is enough. Yeah, enough is enough, guys. And we're going to get into exactly why enough is enough in a moment. Now, as the fight takes place, or whether it does at all, has been thrown into question as it will need to find a new promoter. Thank goodness Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, DAZN stepped up to the plate, guys. They stepped up to the plate. They put on the fight. I was there live at the Garden. It was a great show. I enjoyed being there, enjoyed covering the fight. Shout out to Eddie, Matchroom, DAZN, best promoters in the game until I'm proven otherwise. And they salvaged this from the shit show that it had become and put on a great performance. All right. When Lopez and his promoter Top Rank couldn't reach a deal to face the IBF mandatory challenger Gambosis, the matchup between the two went to a purse bid in February. Triller won with a staggering $6.18 million, blowing away the next closest bid made by Matchroom and Eddie Hearn at $3.56 million. According to the Ring, Lopez was slated to receive a 65-35 share of the bid. And we all remember Bob Arum bragging that, you know, he was getting paid all of this money, high six figures, for not having to do shit. All right, he had no problems with going over or letting Teo go over. You right, get that bag on Triller. All right, by the way, Teo and Gambosis ended up getting the difference between the two purses that they would have received from Triller and from DAZN/Matchroom, because Triller ended up having the forfeit on that. But we'll get into that in a moment. At first, it looked like the fight would be held on June 5th. I remember that. But according to Yahoo Sports, the June 6th fight between Floyd Mayweather and YouTube personality Logan Paul changed the decision-making. We all remember that. By the way, I had Logan Paul winning that fight. Believe it or not, okay, I had him winning that fight. The fight was then slated to take place on June 19th in Lone Depot Park in Miami, but a positive COVID-19 test from Lopez on June 15th postponed it. Yahoo Sports reported that after the postponement of the fight, Triller asked Gambosis to remain in the United States and that it would rent a home for him and fly his girlfriend to the U.S. so she could stay with him, but he did not want his child to be born in the U.S. So he returned to Australia for the birth of his third child, a boy, by the way. Congrats to George Gambosis Jr. for the birth of his son, all right, who was born in late September. Associated Press reported that the fight was going to be pushed to August 14th with the Marlins baseball game scheduled at Lone Depot. The venue had to be changed again. Apparently, these guys can't figure out competitive sporting events, can't work through a calendar. I don't quite get that. But hey, when you're throwing 9 to 10 million around, you think you could break out the Google Calendar, right? You think you could look through sports schedules in the towns where you're planning to schedule events. Apparently not, but I digress. There had been discussions of having the fight in Australia on October 17th, but because Australia required a 2-week quarantine upon arriving in the country, Lopez's team argued against the relocation. The IBF sided with Lopez and said the fight would have to take place by October 17th, and then contracts were required to be turned in by August 24th, again, according to ESPN. Though there was talk that it could be moved to the Middle East, we remember this, it wound up being moved to October 5th in New York. The fight had then to be moved up to October 4th to avoid a potential for the American League wildcard game taking place in New York on October 5th, according to World Boxing News. So they moved it from a Tuesday because of a Yankees game to a Monday to go head-to-head with Monday Night Football. By the way, those of you who are not in the U.S., that's a big day here in the United States on Monday because it's a night usually devoted to gridiron football at that time of the year, especially before the NBA season kicks into swing and college basketball kicks into swing. So it was baseball, then it was football, and before that it was baseball, and before that it was the Mike Tyson fights, and oh, not Mike Tyson, sorry. It was the fight between Logan Paul and Mayweather. All right, Triller decided to move the fight again, this time to October 16th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn because of the October 4th date coinciding with Monday Night Football. World Boxing News reported Lopez agreed to the amendment, but Kambosos did not. I don't blame him, saying that he would only sign if his purse money was placed in an escrow account. Yahoo Sports also reported that after the fight was scheduled for October 4th, Kambosos' lawyer, Greg Smith, had written the IBF to ask for an extension on the October 17 deadline for up to 30 days to try to have it scheduled for a later date in October. Smith wrote in the letter that Kambosos could fly to New York, but said that there weren't any fights to return to Sydney until early November. Upon return to Australia, Mr. Kambosos will face a 14-day mandatory quarantine, okay? While he understands that the IBS has no control over Australia's COVID policies, it would not be equitable for Mr. Kambosos to be stranded in the United States for nearly a month after the bout before he can fly home to begin the quarantine process, Smith wrote, according, again, to Yahoo Sports. When Triller declined to advance $400,000, by the way, to Kambosos, Kambosos did not fly out to the United States, missing a $37,000 flight, according to Yahoo Sports, and Triller was forced to take the fight off the October 16 card. Yahoo Sports reported that Triller asked the IBF to default Kambosos and have a new purse bid, with Lopez taking place on Isaac Cruz, the next highest challenger. We all saw what Isaac Cruz did, Isaac Cruz against Tank Davis. World Boxing News reported that Smith is seeking the IBF to declare Triller in default, which would split the deposit money that Lopez and Kambosos, blah, 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 blah. As I said, guys, this was a total shit show. And by the way, this was the only, with all due respect, all right, to a couple fighters that have fought on Triller, this was the only real meaningful fight that they were ever going to put on. And this is what happened. Okay? This is what happened. All right, I'm seeing people in the comments. Sly Tendencies, my brother, he says Triller tried to prove they were legitimate by having Teo versus Kambosos after the Jake Paul fiasco. By then, no one is taking them seriously. I agree. Okay, I agree with that. And I also agree with this last statement. Triller is scumbags for not advancing, dude. After all the cancellations, he needed the help. He also needed the guarantee. Oh, but Maestro, they did put on fights. They've done a great job. They put on a lot of fights, Maestro. What are you talking about? Really? They put on fights? Well, I remember this one. Again, the first fight they put on was an exhibition between Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, and apparently those guys were not paid what they were promised. That was followed by, if memory serves me correct, this was the next fight, and this is what happened. Let's have a look.
Jake Paul sparred with former world champion Jean Pascal and also cruiserweight contender.
Get my motherfucking money, Jake! Get my motherfucking money, Jake! Get my motherfucking money!
Real fight or not real fight? Well, it was a real fight. Technically, it was an official fight between two licensed boxers, but come on, guys. Really? Really? This is what we're talking about here, guys? If there's anyone out there defending Triller, is this what you're gonna point to? Is this really what you're gonna point to? And for those of you who want to see that again, I don't know if there are any, but who cares? I'm gonna do it anyways. Okay. Whoop. What am I doing there? I'm on double screen. Hold up for that. Yeah. That was not a legit fight. That's not anything to be taken seriously. That is, and we're gonna look at Ben Askren here. Look at that. Really? All right, so Jake Paul did his thing. I'm not hating on Jake Paul. He went for that money.
$2 million on the motherfucking
all right.
Jake Paul sparred with former world champion Jean Pascal.
Get my money, Jake. Get my money.
Oh, come on. And believe it or not, it only got worse. And believe it or not, Jake saw the writing on the wall and bounced up out of there and went to Showtime. And I don't blame him. Toby asked, Maestro, are you not entertained? Nah, I wasn't entertained. I wasn't jumping up for joy like Snoop Dogg, someone whose music I've enjoyed for many, many, many years, pretty much back since I was in high school, middle school, elementary school. Snoop Dogg, Big D-O-double-G. But I wasn't with Big D-O-double-G on that. And, you know, I don't think Jim Lampley was either. Oh, but Maestro, they've done other things in boxing. Maestro, they put on other events as well. Yeah, they put on other events. I get it. Events like what exactly? Events maybe like this? Guys, I'm not entertained. I wasn't entertained by seeing an aged out, way past aged out Evander Holyfield, okay, getting blasted out by a MMA legend. Okay, I shouldn't do the air quotes. He is an MMA legend. All right, I'm not going to say he's not, in Vitor Belfort. And no amount of capping, even by Donald Trump, is going to convince me otherwise.
Vitor, you are some fighter. And I have to tell you, you have a couple of friends between Jorge and Junior. They're sitting down. And my son, my Junior, he said you're going to do fantastically well. But you have big fans with Jorge and with Junior. They said he can fight and he can box.
Apparently Jorge and Mike and Junior, I'm guessing that's Donald Trump Jr., were big fans of that performance. I wasn't. Okay, that was followed up with Vitor apparently demanding fights. Funny enough, nothing else has happened since that fight as it relates to Vitor. I wonder why. Let's have a listen.
You know, boxing is being my martial arts, my top martial arts that I love it the most. Be able to transition and be able to come here and fighting one of the greatest heavyweight of all time. So it was a phenomenal opportunity for me.
So after the fight was over,
fighting the greatest heavyweight of all time. Well, that's not true. And number one, you fought a 50-something, almost 60-pound version of dude. But okay, let's have a listen.
Go and Ryan Kavanaugh gets in the ring, and he said he has a $25 million winner take all. 30. Well, no, it was $25 million initially. Then Bobby raised it. I guess you did. He raised
five. He raised five for Jake Paul, and they say Canelo is $40 million.
So hold on, wait a minute. Let me get this correct. So it's $30 million for Jake Paul, and then $40 million for Canelo?
Yes. How they can say no to that?
So winner take all.
Winner take all.
So all are in. Exactly. So that's who you want next. You want either Jake Paul for $30 million or you want Canelo for $40 million.
Or if Oscar, he wants to, you know, he wants to do it.
He wants Oscar. He wants Canelo. You know, Canelo ain't never stepping in the ring in anything these guys are promoting. I guarantee you that. Oscar, that's still an open question. I'm not quite sure what Oscar's doing these days. I know it's not promoting, but let's look at the next one right here, guys. Because after that, it was more of this.
Seu trabalho com as esquivas, se protegendo ali com o ombro também. O Tito encurralou o Anderson no corner, vai soltando ali o primeiro golpe. O Anderson foi o uppercut. Melhor pro Tito Ortiz nesse início de luta. Anderson solta o cruzado. De novo, o Tito sentiu e acabou! Fim de papo único! último golpe. A precisão cirúrgica de sempre. Anderson, the Spider.
Am I entertained? No, I am not entertained. Was never a big fan of Tito Ortiz. Okay. Tito Ortiz. Never was a big fan of the dude, but that doesn't mean I need to see him poleaxed on the ground, in a boxing ring. Nor do I think people should be paying to see that. But apparently that was very exciting to the Brazilian commentating crew. Okay. And apparently, if that wasn't enough for people, and if that wasn't enough to throw people off, apparently they still needed their fix of more Triller, because Triller offered up this. Let's have a look. Kubrat Pulev, Frank Mir. Here we go.
Right hand by Pulev. Mir didn't like that. He's backing up. He's on his feet. He's on his feet. He's on his feet. What's Pulev doing? He's on his feet. This one's over. Kubrat Pulev.
Phenomenal accuracy from Kubrat Pulev. He did not fear boss the clinch game.
The phenomenal accuracy by Kubrat Pulev, guys. You know, how hard is it to be accurate when Frank Mir's had his hands at his side and is, out on his feet? More from Triller. Okay, wow. Really? This is it, guys? I mean, really? Am I entertained? Slat tendencies? No, I'm not entertained. I don't think George Hall is entertained, really. I don't know what to tell you. And, I can be harsh sometimes on these promoters. That's true. Especially when I think the fighters aren't getting what they deserve money-wise, or even being promoted the right way. Right? You guys saw me go at Leonard Ellaby and Floyd on mano a mano with Kenny T. I did that, but come on. I mean, Ellaby is looking like a saint compared to these dudes. I mean, really? Oh, yeah, but Maestro, they're actually still putting on fights. Triller's alive. It's alive, people. Oh, really? Because all I see is shit like this being advertised, right? We got Michael Hunter versus Jerry Forrest, which took place December 2nd, 6:30 p.m. at the Manhattan Center. Was anyone excited about that fight? Was anybody excited about seeing Michael the Bounty Hunter versus Jerry Forrest? I don't know. I really don't know. So look, let's go through their schedule from beginning to end. Schedule from beginning to end. All right, it all started out back in the day, okay, with Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. They then gave us Fight Club, Paul versus Askren. All right, we see all this promotional material. They were supposed to bring us Gambosis against Lopez. That didn't happen. We discussed it already. All right. After that, what was it? Well, let's go back to it. We got the weigh-in. We got more Fight Club, Paul versus Askren. All right, Triller Fight Club. All right. Then we had some more Gambosis versus Teofimo promos, more Triller Fight Club. This one was De La Hoya Belfort. What happened to that? All right. They had the virtual presser for that. Then there was Michael the Bounty Hunter versus Wilson. Shit, I forgot about that. That was on the undercard of Dipset versus Locks. The Versus, which has actually been better for them than the fight stuff. Then we had Eric Walker, the acclaimed Eric Walker versus Ivan Golub. All right, main event action coming straight to you courtesy of Triller Fight Club, followed by more promotional stuff for the return of Oscar. Oscar versus Belfort. All right, we had episode 1, we had episode 2, we had a live workout. All right. That was followed up by, what do we got here? Return of Oscar, episode 3. Have any of you guys seen these? Maybe it was on the level of the HBO and Showtime stuff, right? The documentary series that those two networks put on. And of course, it was Anderson Silva, Tito Ortiz. All right, and we had the media workout where, honestly, did I say? Yeah, it was Tito Ortiz, Anderson Silva. We had the media workout for Holyfield, Belfort. That's where Holyfield was looking hella slow. Then we had the weigh-in, and we had Silva versus Ortiz again, blah, 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 a little bit more of that. We had the Donald Trump No Holds Barred live alternative comedy. Sorry, commentary. Was commentary. It was actually comedy to me. All right. I remember saying, Evander's not looking very good right now. No shit, Sherlock. He wasn't looking very good. All right. And we go to their last page of Triller Fight Club. Daniel Gonzalez versus Petrov Ananyan, followed by a great performance by Super Cat live at the Barclays. I don't know if you guys remember this particular night of action. Okay. Triller versus Weekend with Daniel Gonzalez, Petrov Ananyan, all right, and Super Cat, all right. Main event, Cletus Silden versus William Silva. Great fight, all right. The Hebrew Hammer took on Babyface Silva, got the dub. Big up to the Hebrew Hammer. Shalom, my brother, shalom. All right, we had some more Triller versus Weekends, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One. That was actually pretty good. We had a Call of Duty Vanguard, the world premiere, versus Games. For the gamers out there, shout out to Kenny T, shout out to Philly Drew Irish. I know they're gamers. I didn't even remember this, the Shaka Khan, Stephanie Mills. That's a new one to me. I'm just seeing that now. And then lastly, we had Tried Combat, and then of course, we had the Hunter versus Forrest fight, followed by 3-6 Mafia taking on Bone Thugs and Harmony. Still haven't seen that as of yet. Guys, I think it's about time that we do it. It's R.I.P. Triller today, guys. All right? It's R.I.P. Triller. It's got to be over for these dudes, man. Trash them. Trash them. Next time they put on a fight, trash that shit. All right? Because this has been the biggest shit show in boxing. And I, for one, don't want boxing to be associated with this. All right. And this guy's got to get out of it, too. He's got to start focusing on Virgil Ortiz. He's got to start focusing on Ryan Garcia. He's got to start focusing on Zurdo Ramirez and not on this.
Who gives a fuck? You won 10 world titles. Who gives a fuck? Well, guess what? I'm going inside the ring because I don't give a fuck.
See, rather than doing this, my man should be out there promoting Zurdo. My man should be out there promoting Virgil Ortiz. My man should be out there trying to get Ryan Garcia back in the ring, because that's what I want to see. I never wanted to see this. Call me crazy, but I never wanted to see this. I want my man to be doing well as a promoter. I don't want my man to be doing this.
When you're up there when you're up there to go to war, you know. And I know he's
he should be up there promoting his fighters. He should be up there talking about Zurdo.
It's go time. It's like I'm
talking about Ryan Garcia,
you know, and it's like
talking about Virgil Ortiz. What's this?
War. It's gonna be hell, but I've been through fucking hell and back.
The difference with this fight and my past fights is my approach.
I'm guessing y'all were really amped up for that one, right? Because I'm telling you guys, I wasn't. The whole time that was taking place, I'm going to drop the link in the chat in case anybody wants to join me for the last few. All right, because we do have bigger fights to talk about this weekend. I will be back this weekend to talk about those fights, or back later today, I hope. All right. But I wasn't willing to buy into this, man. I just wasn't. I wasn't buying into this. All right. And, you know, they could stick Mario Lopez up there as much as they want. I'm not going to be interested in seeing my man getting into these fights. I want to see him promoting his fighters.
I mean, we've known each other a long time, and I've always have admired how focused and disciplined you are, from a fighter all the way to a promoter and stuff. Well, your opponent, MMA legend, in Vitor Belfort, the Phenom, they called him back in the day, and he's been taking this very serious, been training really, really hard, and he's a naturally bigger guy, Oscar. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on your opponent?
There were a few weeks where I was like, yo, what happened to Mario Lopez's podcast, dog? I used to listen to that. And he was doing this. Triller is over. It's a wrap. It's dead. Give it the R.I.P., ladies and gentlemen. Give it the R.I.P. Should have never been, really never was. And it's time to go back to the real shit, which is honestly the kind of stuff that we got lined up this weekend. Nonito Donaire lined up. I want to see Brandon Lee. KO King, I want to see him fight. He's on Showtime. All right, the zone, we got Ben versus Algieri. I'm interested in that fight. All right. Virtuoso, what's good, brother?
Good morning, Maestro. How you been?
I've been real well, my brother. I've been real well. How about you?
Doing excellent, man. I'm excited to see the Loma versus Comey card. I'm actually going to the Garden, you know, tonight.
Oh, nice.
Should be. Yeah, should be exciting time, you know. First time, you know, watching a boxing event, you know. I'm gonna enjoy myself. You also forgot to mention Bivol versus Salamov.
Oh yes. Also on the zone, they're fighting in Russia. Thank you so much for the reminder.
Yes.
Oh my God, there's so many fights today.
Oh yeah.
Man, and then plus you got the UFC card, the 2 title fights, man. They was beefing at the press conference, man, talking all kinds of shit. Amanda Nunez, my girl Julia Pena. Yeah, and then then that fucking clown, that fucking clown with the damn goofy ass fucking afro was beefing with somebody he ain't even gonna be fighting tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be fighting 2 different fights and these motherfuckers standing off and shit, man. Like, hey man, this is gonna be an exciting night of fights. Then you have fucking Vasily Lomachenko versus Richard Comey. I mean, this Bivol. God damn it, man! Like, how am I gonna watch all this shit all simultaneously? I don't need to fucking.
You gotta get YouTube TV, dog. You gotta get that unlimited DVR storage. That's the only way I could do it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You know what? I'm gonna have to move this TV downstairs, man.
I'm going to I hope the Garden has good Wi-Fi because I'm gonna bring 2 phones with me.
Yeah, but that's honestly the way to do it, because a lot of times too, Virtuoso, they have like extended intermissions between the fights. So you got a good head of ear pods, a good set of ear pods, sorry, and a good phone. Yeah, they do have strong Wi-Fi at the Garden. They absolutely do. So that's another way to watch it.
Excellent.
I'm still debating whether I go down to the Garden or not.
Man, I wonder if there's gonna be some upsets today, man. You know, all throughout the board, man. I'm gonna have to put some money on some shit.
Yeah. You know, I'd love to think that Comey could surprise everybody and pull off the upset, but I'm just seeing a Lomachenko that's like super motivated right now, has got a target in front of him, and is just going for it, you know, because he knows that the path to a big fight is like impressive performances, you know.
And you know what? Really, to be honest with you, because Richard Comey is always a live dog. That's why I say the first 5 rounds are going to be his rounds to establish a certain level of control in the fight, if not try to take Lomachenko out. And if he's not able to do that, you know what I'm saying? If he's not able to do that, Lomachenko going to style on his ass like he did Nakatani. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is,
have to get his respect and hurt him early, you know. Because what we did see about Lomachenko is that he was wary of the power that Teofimo presented. And
yes, he was.
Comey, I mean, you guys could tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, but I think he hits at least as hard as Teofimo does.
I mean, very close. If it's not, it is very close in terms of power punching, man. Because he hurt Teo. He hurt Teo in the fight that he had with him before he got his ass knocked out.
100%. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be a good matchup, and Comey's not in boring fights, and for the most part, Lomachenko's always in really entertaining fights. So you've got that good kind of style matchup too between like the boxer and obviously the heavy-handed dude. And I'm not trying to discount Comey's boxing ability, but he is, you know, a heavy-handed dude who's not quite as good of a boxer, obviously, as Lomachenko is, but he's got to let those hands go. He's got to get busy. He's got to land power early, I think. Virtuoso.
Yeah, I think Comey, for him to be successful in this fight, he has got to create space, you know, because he likes to land like straight shots, you know, and he can open himself up for a big hook, you know. But Loma, it's like he's too much of a technician as far as his hands, his guard, his footwork, and he's gonna close the gap and actually try to land on him in the body, you know, try to break him down that way, you know, and open him up to the head. So it's gonna be, you know, a surgical work, you know, with Loma, and it's gonna be in the 7th TKO.
Absolutely. And what do you think about the Bivol fight?
Bivol, you know what? I haven't know who Salimov is. I just heard, you know, rumblings about it, you know, among YouTube, you know, boxing community. But I'm interested in that fight. I want to see what you know, what this kid has. You know, I don't know much about him, but I hear is a good matchup. But I'm just hoping Bivol gets, you know, better like unification, like you know, titles. Like get that Beterbiev fight. I don't know, or move down.
Honestly, I'd like to see him take on Zurdo Ramirez personally.
Yeah, Zurdo.
You know,
but it's like you said. It's like what is Oscar doing? Like that, he's not getting Zurdo that much attention. Like I don't see much progression in Zurdo. I haven't really looked at him that much. You know, it's like he's not really been, you know, interesting to me because I don't know what he's doing with his career. I don't know. It seems kind of stagnant.
Yeah, I agree. And all of that time spent on talking about his fight with Belfort personally. And I like Oscar. You know, I was a huge fan of his. And one of the reasons was like the one fighter when I was growing up that my mom would actually want to watch on pay-per-view. You know, and I got to see a lot of his fights. But he should have been talking about Ryan Garcia. He should have been talking about Zurdo Ramirez. He should have been talking about Virgil Ortiz and using his notoriety and his fame to be doing his job as a promoter. Personally, that's what I think. Puro Sur Central, you're joining us now. What are your thoughts, fam?
What's going on, guys? Hey, what's going on, historian? What's up, Virtuoso?
What's up,
What's up, brother? Oh man, yeah, he should be talking about Speedy Rashidi as well, bro. He's sitting there without a fight.
Absolutely.
You know, it's unfortunate, man. But you guys are finally seeing the light. What I've been saying about Ryan and Oscar for the get go, man. It's been fishy ever since Canelo left. It's
Right.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's been downhill since Canelo left, I think, and I got to give it up to Roberto Diaz because he's holding down the fort as best as he can. You know,
Facts.
He's doing a great job trying to get guys like Jojo Diaz fights. You know, getting his name out there, handling him the right way. You know, promoting him the right way. But even if Oscar's a figurehead at Golden Boy, which I think he is, because I give all respect and praise to Roberto Diaz, he's got to do his job as a figurehead. It's like, you know, the Queen of England, you know. She doesn't really run the government, but, you know, you got to make your appearances. You got to fly out places. You know, you got to make yourself known. And I'm just using that example, even though I don't like royalty or whatever at all. But you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like he's supposed to be like more diplomatic, like Eddie Hearn. Like he's a guy that's willing to do business. Whereas Oscar, he seems kind of shrewd, very defensive, you know, and kind of, you know, standoffish. To me, as a promoter, I think he's kind of showing his flaws a lot. And to me, he lost key people, and that was like Richard Schaefer and Canelo. That's the one that really made Golden Boy, you know, what it was. You know, which was really like a division, a promotion for mostly like Latino fighters. But you know, he's got to promote black fighters as well. You know, it's not just, you know, them. And Rashidi Ellis is missing, you know, that exposure. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, that's a great point, because really what's kind of killing boxing in my eyes as well is like let's just call it the ethnic way that people get promoted, you know. And I definitely Golden Boy should not be falling into that trap. One thing I give Eddie Hearn credit for, and even the PBC actually, although I don't like the way they always match up blacks, African American fighters against Mexicans. It seems like a common theme for them. But I do like the way Eddie Hearn is like international with his promotion, man. International, multi-ethnic. You know, he's all over the place. You know, Oscar, I mean, he should have more notoriety than Eddie Hearn, just off of his name, off of his history in the sport. But it's Eddie who's constantly giving the fire quotes on YouTube, you know, giving the interviews, you know, talking up his fighters. That's what I want to see Oscar doing.
And instead, Oscar's looking like a bum. You know, he's kind of coked out. You know, he's slurring his words. Like, come on, man, it's just sloppy. Very, very bad look for him and the promotion as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. I just can't. It's been a bad look for him, like you said, since Canelo left. And it's disappointing to see for sure. So what time you head into the fight, Virtuoso? I'm actually looking up tickets right now. See if I can get a deal.
I'm gonna see if I could get in by like 6 o'clock, because I heard the doors open like at 5:15, and then I think the bell time is 5:30.
Yeah,
you know, it might be a lot of people coming in. It's like tickets might be still available, you know, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a huge, you know, crowd.
No. The tickets are still available. I'm looking at them now, and you know what? I just decided I'm gonna head down there. I don't have a credential to this fight, but I'm still gonna head down there and enjoy it live. It is a meaningful fight. So I should
excellent.
get down there to cover it. So hit me up on Twitter or whatever, and I'll see if I can link up with you, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. Excellent.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah,
So any last thoughts, anybody? Because I'm about to get up out of here.
Oh man, hey man, hey, support Maestro A boxing, support MANO, man, and it's gonna be some great night of fights, boxing, MMA, shit, man. Watch it all if you can. DVR all of it if you can.
Yeah, definitely check out MANO and MANO. You know, my man Kenny T. You know, he's killing it.
Man. I'm glad
Yes,
you're right.
sir.
I'm glad you guys like the content.
All right, man.
All right, guys, that's it for me. salute to everybody that was in the chat. Salute to everyone here, Virtuoso, the boxing historian, and Puro School Central Boxeo. We'll be back soon here on Mano a Mano, Maestro A Boxing. And that's it for me, guys. I'm out of here. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Peace, Maestro. Take it easy, bud.